Well, good morning. This is Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker. And today is Sunday, June 30th, 2024 at approximately 08:15. And I got 34 hours. I'll get it right in a minute. 48 hours, 2 days, growth on my face. And I am in Mousette, Illinois. Not Herculean this morning, Mousette. I decided to come on over here. It's about 40 miles further on up in my route. Come up on 255 to the east of St. Louis, cross over into Illinois, and on that 255 loop on the east side of St. Louis, there's a Lowe's truck stop at Mousette. There's another one about another 40, 50 miles on up the road at Hamlin, I believe it is, but that's just a mousetrap up there. So here we are, Mousette. I wanted to test the water in the showers. It's hot water in the shower. Not quite as hot, but better than Herculean's tepid water. I don't know why they can't get hot water in the sink. Some of them do just fine. Anyway, here we are. We're going to do a straight razor shave. And with that said, let me introduce the equipment. Let me dry my hands. It's got one of those water savers on the faucet, and it's coming out fairly warm. I wouldn't call it quite hot, but better than Herculean was. But it's just drizzle, you know, those little water savers that you just drizzle out, which makes no sense to me at all. Now I'm working my way through. I've got 8 roll-ups with the new black Thierza Sard leather roll-up that I bought a couple of months ago. I've been working on filling it up. So I've got 8 roll-ups now, 7-day roll-ups, and I'm working on the last one, which has most of the older vintage razors that I have. They're not exactly the kind that you would show to your friends and pals. You want to show the A list, not the B list. Well, this is the B list, and I'm working through them, and there's nothing wrong with them. They shave up just fine. So that said, here is a 7/8. It's got 402. You'll see on the tang there, it's got a Arab scimitar sword. It says Soligen on the face of the blade in the gold. Well, just below it says sword, with another picture of a scimitar in the center of the gold. I don't know anything about this razor. The only thing I can surmise about it is that it's not far off from the design, especially the sword, from a Crown and Sword razor. And so my daughter bought me this because she wanted me to have a pink handle, scales on it. And so she actually found one with pink scales, and she bought it and sent it to me. This has been honed and has served quite nicely over the last 3 or 4 years since she sent it to me. This was honed up on a conical, and so we're going to go with that. This is I'm also using as a test razor this Bengal. Somebody's worked the shoulder here. Looks like they try to turn it into some kind of a camisori thing. And it says Bengal on the back side, and on I guess that'd be the face side, Bengal. The rear side says T.R. Cadman and Sons, Sheffield, England. So this one, I tried this one. I don't know if it was on camera, off camera, a few days ago, and it didn't give me 100%, so it tugged just a little bit, and I said, nope, time to put something on that. Now, I apologize for not getting a video out on Wednesday when I got home. As soon as I got home, my wife put me straight to work on honeydews, and I didn't get done until 5, 6 o'clock, exhausted, and I did shave that night with a shower and shave, got cleaned up for the evening, but I just didn't have the energy to do a video, so, which is all right, it's all right. I did another shave on Friday morning before I left for work, off camera, and so it's been a week since I've done a video. Got a couple of things to say. Let's talk about trucking and routing first. Left on Friday, got out of the yard by 1 o'clock. 5 hours to Shreveport, Louisiana. Oh, that was the razors. Let me do the soap here and the brush. We're using Sterling Soap Company's Detonate. When I first started using this, I called it Deton 8. I was informed and corrected by my good friend Bill M. He said, no, that's Detonate, like an explosion. Detonate. It's named after a high-end cologne, which I had no idea about. So I thank Bill for correcting my ignorance. Lovely scent, nice cologne style scent. And our brush, we're going to be using get the good light on it, Simpson Chubby 3 Manchurian Badger. And this is the second most expensive brush in my collection. They run about between $400 and $500. And you got to order them direct from Simpson in England and have them shipped internationally. You can't buy these, last I checked, you can't buy these off of Amazon or some US distributor. So that's put that back in the water. It's you know, it's one of those things where, yeah, I'm glad I spent the money to get it because now I got one. But there are plenty of brushes that, in fact, I would go, I wanted the Simpson brand. I got the Simpson brand, so there we go. And if you're interested in the Simpson brand, I'd direct your attention to the Super Badger. This Manchurian is stiff, bristly. It's a scrubber, if I can use that language. And whereas the Super Badger is softer, silver tip like. This one's not so much silver tip like. Get my sidebar set up here, right? And so Friday was Houston to Shreveport, 5 hours. And then yesterday, because I went the extra 40 miles to come over here to Mouset, from Shreveport to Mouset, it was 610 miles. And it was right at about 10 hours of driving, following all the regulations and rules that the DOT require, et cetera, et cetera. So then and that actually serves me today because that makes for a shorter day today. From Herculean to Portage, curbside parking, was 7 hours, and this will be about 6 hours and 15 minutes or so. Had a good hot shower. Nothing of any significance to report on the road. No flat tires, no emergencies, no. There's always the occasional idiot you got to deal with, four-wheeler. They come on the highway, get right in front of you, don't speed up, don't create distance, have no regard for you right behind them because they came on right in front of you. I got a couple of things I want to say about some of my good friends' videos. Just my 2 cents worth, that's all. And no offense, no offense intended by any means, just my observation and so forth. But let me start with the general premise that in honing, my opinion, that a lot of people, for whatever reason, because of things that people have said on the forums, are reluctant to apply pressure. I'm of the opinion that pressure can be your friend in honing. Now, when I say pressure, we're always taught weight of the blade, weight of the blade. Don't use more than weight of the blade, or language to that effect, light pressure. And that's good for your finishing strokes, but for your workhorse strokes, even you'll go back and look at Lynn Abrams' early videos, where he says, I'm applying a good amount of pressure here, something to that effect as he's doing his circles. And it takes pressure to set your bevel, it takes pressure to get the desired apex that you want, this caudicle here. And so we've gotten this idea that we're, to avoid pressure. Oh, this is just wonderful. Now, so pressure, and I don't particularly care what kind of steel you're using. But pressure will get your bevel and your apex in a position where you want them, so you can go weight of the blade, light pressure, finishing strokes, even out, smooth out the striations, the scratch pattern, to where you can move on to the next stone. Now, it only makes sense to me, and Martin, please understand that my heart has nothing but admiration for you. Stainless steel is not that much different than carbon steel. Yeah, you can talk about the steel components, chrome and so forth, in stainless steel, but just a little more pressure, get that bevel and apex where you want it, and then come back with your finishing strokes. Some of the sharpest razors I have are stainless steel. One I didn't originally set. It came from Japan. It's a Friador, J.A. Henkel Friador. But that razor coming from Japan, assuming that it was honed up by those guys over there using their J-nats and whatever, besides being very sharp and delivering a very keen shave, it taught me what a stainless steel edge should be. And so all of the subsequent stainless steel razors I purchased and received, that's what I was aiming for. Even the new Fockerbite, Dovo Fockerbite that I bought about a year ago, and it had the super curve bevel on it. When I decided to take it out and go to a flat bevel, it's stainless steel. And so I used, enough pressure in the rehoning of the bevel to achieve my desired end. And it's wonderful. Now, continuing with the same general theme of pressure, let me change to conical honing. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, insult anybody, just my own opinions, but I think they're useful, or I wouldn't be saying them. I got some coffee this morning. Nothing like truck stop coffee. Now, cauticles are difficult to talk about because, quite honestly, of all the stones that I'm familiar with, which is not a lot, but I have my collection, and what I've read is that they are the most inconsistent group of stones to deal with. And I know people have opinions about veins and mines and names. But I've always said you got to deal with what's available. It's not like you can call Ardennes and say, I want this, I want that. Oh, I'm sorry, that's no longer available. That's kind of like, a lily white or something like that on the Arkansas side, because those mines are closed and they're not producing, and you have to go to eBay and hope to find one and pay a fortune. The average person's got to deal with what's available in the open public market. And I don't mean secondhand market, which is fine, but be able to go to Norton and buy XYZ, be able to go to Dan's and buy XYZ. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not available. And so cauticles are hard to talk about. And there does seem to be a wide range of inconsistency or variance, let me say it that way, amongst the stones. I have 3 cauticles. I have a little 4x2, which is wonderful. I have a 8x3. I call it my A, cauticle A. That's wonderful. And I've got a cauticle B, 8x3. That's not so wonderful. Or at least I haven't found the magic key yet to unlock it. And that's how people talk about cauticles. I haven't found the magic to unlock it yet. Well, that's no good. So they're not consistent. Which you can't say about synthetics. You can't say, in my opinion, about Arkansas stones. They are as consistent as the day is long, in my opinion. That's a little nick from Friday morning. And another thing about cauticles as a general principle, they're not consistent, number one. Number two, you've got to have, in my opinion, a common frame of reference, both in honing and talking about cauticles. And so where I start is with Dr. Matt, 3-part series plus the supplement, so there's 4 videos on the caudicle. That's my baseline. That's my, when you and I are talking about cauticles, have you watched those videos? Are you following that method? Because there's all kinds of caudicle honing videos out there. And the most important step of that process of Dr. Matt's is the last step, under running water, achieving that stiction. Are you getting the stiction? Would be a question I would ask in a conversation about caudicle honing. Are you running it under, for your final step, are you running it under water and achieving stiction? As Dr. Matt says, that's how you know that the stone has given you all that it's got to give. And it works for me. I follow that pretty close. Whatever I do up to that point, that's always my last step. And so those are some things that I wanted to say. Sean, I did watch your latest shaving video this morning when I got up. I knew you were coming out with one, and like you said, I watched you closely on the caudicle honing on the boot bout, whatever they say. And Sean's just a fine young man, and so I commend him highly for his endeavors in honing and straight razor shaving. He's taken up the hobby with gusto, and that's always encouraging to see a young man in these days take up anything with gusto besides drug use and murder. But I won't go any more down that line. Which kind of, that's an interesting segue to what I will say next. Did you see my opening segment? The butt stops here. Let me ask this question in light of Thursday night's presidential debate. Who the hell is in charge of our country? You talk about opening a gate to Russia, China, North Korea, national security. Just who is in charge of our country? At least Harry Truman had the good sense to say the buck stops here, despite the fact that his administration was infiltrated with communists, and we lost China to the communists, necessitating the escape to Taiwan. A lot of people forget that history. A lot of people forget how Richard Nixon made his name in politics. He was a young congressman, and the Whitaker Chambers affair and the infiltration of the communists racking the Truman administration. So, yeah. That's why he was he finished out after Roosevelt, FDR, died. He finished out his term. He won his own presidential term. And I think that's all he was allowed to serve, because the number of years that he was able to fulfill from Roosevelt's term was more than 2.5 years, and that made him ineligible to run for a second term in his own right. Because Roosevelt died in 45 before the war. Truman dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of 45. And the next election was, that's 48. 48, is that right? 44, 48, and that's when he won the whole Truman beats, a Dewey beats Truman headline that was in air. '48 to '52 is Eisenhower, and '52 Eisenhower served until 52 to 56, 56 to 60. So I know, got ahead of myself, didn't I? And Kennedy in 60. I've never had a shower before here at this Lush truck stop, so I'll be interested to see if they come banging on my door. I will say that the door is equipped with a proper deadbolt that says vacant occupied on it, so that's a good thing. So just who exactly is in charge of our country and running the national security apparatus along with the day-to-day operations and opening this door of And of course, nothing surprising here, right? We knew that the man, even when he was first elected 4 years ago, was a doddering, senile fool. Ooh, ooh. And the real queen behind the operation, in my opinion, is Queen First Lady. And there is going to be one hell of a fight to unseat. That's all the talk here, if you're watching this from outside the United States. You know, I take Trump at his word very literally. Well, almost. Understanding what is figurative, understanding what is literal. But he said by the time he's done with things, the Democrat Party will be destroyed. I believe him. Because they are now in one heck of a mess. Because there's accountability. The people around the President of the United States have known that he was this way. Well, he's subject to the 25th Amendment and removing him from office because he is incapacitated. It makes you wonder who's signing those important documents. Foreign policy, national security, finance, Green New Deal. There's supposed to be a big meeting today. It was either yesterday or today. I haven't followed up yet this morning. But a big conflab is taking place at Camp David this weekend about, because they can't go forward. Every major Politico, news, media, since Thursday night, they were shocked, they were stunned that he did so poorly. No, it's like Jack Posobiec said, that this was a setup to get rid of him on purpose, because they knew they had to replace him because he was a senile old fool. I'm no fan of Democrats or Biden, but at some point you just start to feel sorry for the old guy and wonder who's making these decisions and how much of that constitutes elder abuse. But make no mistake about it, there is treason being committed in front of your very eyes. whether you recognize it or not. Who's making those decisions? Jake Sullivan at the State Department? Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State? Kamala Harris? Please. Let's go talk to Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco, former speaker in the California Assembly, about Kamala Harris. How did she get her start in politics? I ain't gonna say no more than that. Or the real brains of the operation, Barack Obama. Barack Obama is serving his third term as president as a puppet master behind the scenes. Because watch who becomes the real candidate. Why is the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this year? Because they knew. This is all scripted out. Hillary Clinton was supposed to win the 2016 election, and they were shocked. And if you don't know the story about the $4 billion, it's a good story to look into. And they were shocked because their 16-year plan had been upended. It's supposed to be Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and there's your 16-year plan. And Agenda 21. We're supposed to be in World War by now. We're supposed to be in FEMA camps by now. And the only way they can win in November is to steal it again, just like they did in 20. There is no way that the Democrats will honestly, legitimately, legally win the 24 election. It is in such upheaval right now. And watch how they come out of it. And I like what Steve Bannon had to say. Whatever route they take, our job is to make it as painful for them as possible. To suffer every humiliation, to suffer every pain possible. It's going to be interesting, for sure. And we're going to see things never thought possible. In American politics. So where does the buck stop? Who's taking responsibility? Who's usurping responsibility? Oh, this is just lovely. Conical edge. Just as sharp as any razor and smooth. It's just so smooth. I'm getting a few little weepers, which is only an indicator of how sharp it is. Soap flying everywhere. And for those of you that are counting on the convictions in court of people like Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, and Peter Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, you're going to be crying at the end of the day. They're not going to stick. They're going to be overturned. They are not going to interfere with or hinder the election process. And you're going to feel like jumping off a building. There's a penalty for treason, and it's right and just. It's amazing how the United States of America, since its founding, 1776, 1787, 1791, Declaration of Independence, Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights. And there's also a reason that Benedict Arnold is looked upon with scorn and hate in the history of the United States. The hero of Saratoga. How did he fall so mightily? To commit treason. I don't know if it's still, I do not know if it's still there, but I remember seeing, when I went over to England and to London, seeing a statue dedicated to Benedict Arnold. That was in 1984, a long time ago. But it was there. As I say, I don't know if it's still there. Don't be surprised if China makes a move on Taiwan in these weakened conditions. Don't be surprised if Russia takes out Kiev and that whole thing falls apart. It's already falling apart. Anybody that thinks that Russia or that Ukraine and that NATO is going to pull out a victory of any sort from that conflict is blind and foolish. But like I've said before, I would rather live under Russia's Christian orthodoxy than the West's rainbow flag. I got so carried away using this conical edge that I forgot all about that refreshed Bengal that I was going to use. But it don't matter. We'll try that on another shave. Maybe Friday when I'm at home off camera. Now the thing about pressure is that, yeah, you're going to make, it's all about the striations, isn't it? Getting that bevel to come together. And then refining it after you've gotten where you want it, and take those heavier. Now when I speak of pressure, please understand, I'm not talking about Jolly Green Giant club-handed pressure. Now I can't quantify it. I know others have tried. Okay, that's fine. But more than this weight of the blade only kind of stuff. And I watch some of these guys, good guys, honing, and it looks like the blade is barely touching the stone. Well, okay, you're going to do 1,000 laps. I exaggerate. And that's why, go back and look at Len Abrams when he's doing his circle, and he says, I'm using a bit more pressure here to make the bevel plane. And then you come back with your finishing strokes and even it out. Take away the heavy striations, and you should be all right. Keith Johnson has got a new shaving video out, and I always like Keith Johnson. I'm not much into J-Nets, but he speaks so plainly, so simply, to the point. All right. Soligen sword number 402, pink handle. All right, set this aside. And we'll use the refreshed Bengal for the head shave. Here's an interesting point as well, and I knew this, but it was interesting to hear a discussion on it over the last couple of days, and that is the president, the candidate for president of the United States, represents not only himself as whatever party he's representing, but every down ticket slot, all the way down to dog catcher. He represents that person too. And so when there's a major upheaval, when people go to the polls, I won't say always, there's always that person that's gonna, I vote the person, not the party. Okay, fine. But most people are either one or the other, because they're acquainted enough with the issues at hand, they're acquainted enough with the parties, they're acquainted enough with the propositions, they're acquainted enough with the principles that they believe in and who best represents those principles. You know, and all you can do in that respect is based upon what they say or what they have done in the past. And that's all perfectly understandable. And so, when there's upheaval like this in the top slot, every down ticket candidate is going to suffer mightily. And as some predictors are indicating now, is that there's going to be such a blowout that it will last for 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. The Democrat Party will be utterly destroyed because every down ticket slot will lose. That means that the Republicans and the America First candidates will win every slot. They'll have a veto-proof, well, Trump will be president, but hallelujah. The minority will not have filibuster power. Can you imagine 75 senators, America First, in the US Senate, 450 or whatever the number is, in the House of Representatives? It may take us a couple of cycles to get there. But this blowout will be enough to carry the day in every down ticket position. More so than Ronald Reagan's blowout in 1984 against Walter Mondale. What a piece of work that was. Well, I'm going to have plenty of time this morning. My goal is, since I'm down to less than 6.5 hours to curbside parking in Portage, Wisconsin, get underway by 11. I'll get up there about 5:30, which is just fine. By the way, this razor's, oh yeah, working just fine. So to all my good YouTube shaving buddies, I say thank you for watching. I know I take a long time. It just is what it is, and run it however fast you want to. But Bill M. and Matt, Lukey3262, Straight Face Shaved channel. I had a brief text message conversation with him this week. It was brief. And then Martin Shave Tests always does a good job. He'll get that stainless steel down pretty soon enough.
Customer 32, your shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 5.
Ooh, uh-oh. I may have gotten a spot there on the backside. Not yet. Maybe just a little bit. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. And I didn't bring my cap in this morning. So I'm gonna walk through the store with blood rolling down the back of my head. Now my refresh on this blade was done with the Shapton Glass 30,000, so if I did a good job, it's sharp. All right. Oops. Where did I leave off? Sorry about that. Martin Test shaves, Dapper shaves, Jock in South Africa, and Eric, the Cajun Blade, and Sean Staplefeld. Just a good group of guys. Have fun with each other. Okay. And so this was a TR Cadman Bengal that was refreshed on the Shafting glass last week. 30,000. Oh. I was going to cut it off, but let's go ahead and do the Not too bad, even with weepers and nick on the back of the head. So we use the Sterling Soap Company Detonate and Simpson, Chubby 3, Manchurian Badger. And that's it. And let me get this. I'm done. Thank you for staying with me. See you later. I'll see you down the road.